Yo, what's going on guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another video for Blue Protocol. This year has been great for long-awaited games finally giving us updates on what is going on with said games. We started off the year with an update on Project Awakening, confirming that it was still in production and has an upgraded new engine, and more recently we had a big update on Crimson Desert, saying that the publisher is doubling down by moving other projects out of the way to ensure that the release happens within the next few years. But one of the most exciting games that we have been covering for quite a while on this channel finally got a recent update that makes it sound like there is a high probability of getting a Western release, and that game of course is Blue Protocol. So in today's video, since more people will now be looking for answers to their burning questions, here are 5 things you need to know about Blue Protocol. But before we get into the details, if you have any questions about the game, then let us know and we will be sure to cover them in a future video, and if not, the community is super helpful and should also have an answer for you. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy this video, and stick around because we will continue to cover this game, and of course as and when it does come out, then we'll have plenty of content for you. But first things first, let's get the most important thing out of the way. What is Blue Protocol? Blue Protocol is an anime MMORPG that was initially being made primarily for the Japanese market by Bandai Namco. The team working on Blue Protocol has experienced members from some of Bandai Namco's most popular franchises, such as the Tales series, Tekken, and Ace Combat. The game will be releasing for PC, and currently there hasn't been mention of console release, but that could of course change in the future. And of course, up till now, the game hasn't got a Western release date, but a Japanese release date will be happening in spring 2023. Namco Bandai have announced that there will be an announcement for the global audience of Blue Protocol at the Game Awards in December, which is of course making it much more likely that we will be learning about a global version at the same time. So while of course at this current moment of making this video we don't have a date, the way that things are going does of course point towards a Western version. There will of course also be a closed beta test happening in January for the Japanese region, and if you want instructions on how you can apply to that, visit the Blue Protocol database website because they have the steps necessary. But moving on from there, let's talk about the story. Though most MMOs are about the fun that you make with the tools that you're given, there is of course a story behind Blue Protocol, and it looks like the game will have a full-fledged cast of characters to support that. So what exactly is the story? Well, the official description on the website says that Regnus, a planet that was once ruled by a divine tribe, thrived using a mystical light. Many millennia later, what remains are their ruins, treasures, and a dark secret. Once the divine tribes have left for the heavens, an era of human rule has arrived in search of the remaining light. People step foot into the ruins of the Befaria to locate lost technology, shining treasures, monsters attacking and towering ancient structures, and fighting for the fate of the planet. A new page in Regnus' history will begin. The story of the protagonist begins with 2-dimensional beings appearing in the Astir Lands Cathedral. They are claiming to have travelled back thousands of years through time and space, and their goal was to release Avalitia, a monster from fairy tales that will change humanity for the greater good. However, upon learning of their existence, the dimensional beings bestow their explanations to us, forcing us to choose an ultimatum. Now you have to make a choice as to whether you stand with these wary beings or perish forever. Take it into your own hands to unravel the truths of Avalitia and the world of Regnus. Locate your missing memories and set upon a dangerous journey. So the story itself sounds like the perfect mix of those of us that like animes and MMO, big grand names, dimensional beings, and a bit of saving humanity. Looks like we have an adventure on our hands. But what about the gameplay? Well, first up, let's talk about the classes. One of the core aspects of any MMO for players is your characters, and the best way for an MMO to make that feel unique is by having a good character creator and a number of different classes for players to choose from. Namco Bandai have already made an effort to show off how detailed the character creator will be, and it looks awesome. But as for the classes, we know that currently there are 5 different classes, and these are the descriptions from the Blue Protocol database. First up, we have the Aegis Fighter, a melee class equipped with a sword and a powerful shield. Definitely my kind of one. I love my sword and shield. This is a class with offensive and defensive skills, but mostly focused on survival. The class has a special gauge called the Shield Gauge, and this is necessary to block incoming damage, and it regenerates if you don't block. If the shield gauge reaches 0, the shield breaks, and you won't be able to block for a few seconds. You then have the Twin Striker, a melee DPS class equipped with 2 powerful axes, a class which deals constant damage and has skills which keep them alive as long as they deal damage. The class will have a combo meter that awards the character bonus damage for every successful attack, so the combo meter is bonus damage. You then have the Blast Archer, a long-range DPS support class equipped with a bow. This class is agile and deals increased damage on enemy weak spots. The class has several attack, buff, and debuff and support abilities, and they can also use ground element skills to apply more effects to enemies. You then have the Spellcaster, a ranged mage class equipped with a staff. This class can manipulate the elements on the battlefield and has a gauge called mana, which is required to cast up the spells. Mana doesn't recover over time and needs to be charged up by using certain skills. You can learn various attribute attacks, including fire, ice, and lightning, and it has a high power and high attribute effects, which are more effective in party battles. And the latest class introduced is the Heavy Smasher, which combines the power of heavy weapons but the ability to have some ranged capabilities, as the large ball can be fired towards enemies for massive damage. So that definitely does sound pretty awesome. But in addition to this, what about the activities? Well, for the activities the player will be able to partake in, we know that the game will have huge world bosses for players to take on. Based on the information from prior beta tests, these world bosses will appear at certain times and have to be defeated within a time limit. And since these are world bosses, they can also be taken down by a large group of players. Defeating them will lead to a treasure box full of goodies like crafting materials and more. Alongside world bosses, there will be normal activities such as quests to complete and dungeons to explore. And if you're looking for PvP, there currently isn't any plans for normal Unga Bunga PvP mode in the game, where you have to go head to head with other players, because Blue Protocol is primarily a PvE focused game. Whether they decide to expand on that or change that in the future will of course remain to be seen, but currently this is all about the PvE adventure. And then finally, free to play. What about the monetization of Blue Protocol? Blue Protocol is going to be a free to play game and will feature a season pass. There will also be a cash shop for cosmetic items only, as Namco Bandai has said that none of the items on the store will have stats or pay to win elements. So you will purely be purchasing cosmetics. And again, if they get this right, that is completely fine. There are games in the past that of course have done good jobs of this. Things like Guild Wars had a fantastic cash shop. So provided they do of course stick to that and don't suddenly let people start buying power, then we should be in a good place. But again, for the time being, that's all we have. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Those are a few things to note on Blue Protocol. Do be sure to keep it locked, because as when we do find out more information, I'll be keeping you guys posted. If you've missed some of the recent videos, you can check out one of these ones and keep it locked for plenty more.